What's up, guys? Coach Gaglione here. This is another Gags Goals update. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a dumbbell hotel workout type situation. So if you only have light dumbbells available, these are some of my favorite movements that you could do. You can kind of do them in a circuit. You could do them one at a time. If you're pressed for time, you can kind of superset. So I just started off with some side raises, went into some tricep extensions here. And if you kind of notice, I'm also kind of really turning my palms toward myself a little bit more, almost like an underhand grip, just to kind of really try to line up my elbows a little bit better. The bigger you are, the thicker you are. Even with dumbbells, it can be hard to get your alignment just right, and that's where kind of doing single arm exercises can be a little bit more joint friendly, but obviously it's a little bit less time efficient. So here is kind of these clown curls, as they say, the line curls, but again, this could be really good, not just as a bicep exercise, but also a mobility exercise at the shoulder and at the elbow. So some of these exercises we're not necessarily going to be doing for maximal strength, a little bit of hypertrophy, a little bit of mobility and range of motion, and that could be a good use case for something like that. I'm not going to go super heavy on those because you're in a really exposed position by having that in the bottom. And this is just some underhand front raises, which I like for kind of like strict curl training, a little bit more front delt, but also your bicep has to stabilize the elbow as well. So again, your bicep is also going to be involved in shoulder flexion. Just another kind of overhead dumbbell exercise. I'd probably do this seated if I did this again, and again, probably one at a time, but just wanted to kind of show you some different versions you could do with some lighter weights. Again, also just kind of good for general mobility, scapular health, upward rotation, those sorts of things. And then there's some Zotman curls here. So those are just a couple of different exercises that you could do with lighter weights, and it's going to be good for like the forearms and the elbows. For the heavier weights, obviously all forms of pressing, incline pressing, overhead pressing, rowing. And again, if the dumbbells are really light and you want to get a little bit more of a different challenge, doing more of a key press or like a reverse grip underhand press can be good just to challenge yourself in a different way if you don't have super heavy weights. But again, this is going to be really good for the upper pecs and the shoulders from like a good incline position. And then you can kind of flip over and go right into like a chest supported row. Again, getting good focus on getting the scapula moving. I really try to get my chest over the pad as well, just to really help with the stretch. But again, you can kind of, again, go underhand, you can go neutral, you can kind of experiment with the grip and kind of challenge yourself. So if you kind of have a little bit more of an out to in emphasis, it also could be a little bit more rear delts potentially as well. But again, it's going to not be, you're not going to need a ton of weight depending on the angles, the grip, and the tempo that you use. So all sorts of pressing and rows are going to be good. I like the chest supported version. It's going to be a little bit easier on the lower back, a little bit easier to feel that contraction. And then obviously you can kind of go overhead presses as well, shrugs, things of that nature, hammer curls. Those are movements that you could probably do a little bit more weight on, especially if you're using a little bit of body English for the hammer curls, like you'll kind of see. This was after I did my strict curl workout, so I was a little bit tired as is, but generally if you have a little bit of body English, you can handle a good amount of weight on hammer curls. But typically what I like to do is kind of do my shoulders and arms together and then kind of finish with my back and lats. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.